What was the equation for the last one?
I couldn't see that.
It was the square root, right?
Yeah, it was like
The
1
last
over
two
square
were
root of.
I didn't know how to do that.
Okay, let me look at that. 3.4, 3.5. Oh yeah, okay.
But then when I got to shoot, I didn't know if
1 over, that was a good question. So y equal to 1 over square root of 4x squared minus 9x plus 2. Now this question is interesting because the idea is denominator cannot equal to 0. That's the first thing. Also, radicand, I think it's called radicand, it has to be greater or equal to 0. So in this case, it has both. So then you start looking at the bottom. It says, oh, okay, well, 4x squared minus 9x plus 2 has to be greater than 0, not greater equal to. Usually it'll be greater equal to, but if the denominator equal to 0, it's automatically undefined. Does that make sense? So you can, usually it will be like this, greater equal to, if it's an inside radical, which is your previous question was inside radical. Now this question will be on the test because this one is a good question. You want to set inside greater than 0. Now this becomes a quadratic inequality. So it becomes this is a factorable. So be 4x squared 2 minus 9x, 4x and x, 2 and 1. And that's going to give you a ax and x. So be 4x minus 1 times x minus 2 greater than 0. Now it's still a number line test question. If you realize we list
Scissors, real quick, can I borrow?
who are you?
Brown class. He's got come here ask for scissors. So we're doing
Can you get a scissor in the back, Liliana? It's in the back. It's right underneath the jacket, I believe.
What?
Yeah. No, underneath the jacket, I think. Can you give it back to me?
Yeah, I'll get it back to you.
Cool, thank you. Okay. 2 and 1/4. And then you're gonna test. So you're gonna test something that's less than -1/4 or less than 0. So it's gonna be negative, negative, positive. You're gonna test 1. It's gonna be positive, negative, negative, positive, positive, positive. So it's greater than 0. It's only happen when negative infinity to 1/4 parenthesis union from 2 to infinity, and that's the answer. Well, yeah, this is a good test question, by the way. But usually, if you just have radical, it's going to be greater or equal to. But in this case, it's not equal to 2 because 2 is going to be undefined. Now, let's look at these questions, right? Look at this. So you see that x equal to, I think 2. There's asymptotes there, right? And then there's x equal to 1/4. There's, oh, sorry, x equal to 1/4. There's asymptote. There's asymptote on this side. So there's graphs for the right side of 2 and left side of 1/4. Any question about this? This is a good test question.
You're gonna have us grab the blue for it.
You don't need to grab this particular one. but you are gonna graph some like slant asymptote, even something straight line with a hole. I think the most confusing part is a lot of times when it's straight line with a hole, people draw the slant asymptote, but that's the actual line with a hole on it. Which is a lot of you guys, I look around the homework, you guys in generally you did it right. But you should check out your decimal, see if it come out as the right answers too when you graph it. But yeah, this is a one of the questions.
So you're gonna have a test review there, right?
Huh?
You're gonna send us a test review soon?
I would send you a test review, but it doesn't have this part because last year I didn't put this one on this part on the test, but this year I will. So I want to make sure I answer all the question. Shanti, what's the question with? Did I pronounce your name right? Did I pronounce your name right? How to pronounce it again? Shantae. I got it. I'm so sorry. I'm really bad with names. I'm Chinese. That's what happened. You can blame on that. Shangte, right? Is that right? Okay. All right. What was the question that I said you had to move the 2 over? Huh? Can you tell me the questions?
X minus 2 over x plus 2 is less than or equal to.
Okay, so this is a good question. The only way that to do a number line, you have to check are they greater than 2 and negative 2. You want to set them to become 0. Does that make sense? So you want to set x minus 2, x plus 2 is minus 2 is less than 0. And you have to combine these fractions. So when you combine, there's going to be x plus 2 over x plus 2. So if you do that, it's going to be x plus 2 over x minus 2 minus 2x minus 4 is less than or equal to 0. So you need to do some math here. This is negative x minus 6 x plus 2. Now you can do a number line. It's going to be a negative 2. And I think this is going to be negative 6. So it'll be negative x minus 6 x plus 2. And if you look at here is this one's actually going to give you positive, negative, negative 3 is negative, negative, and 0 is going to be negative, positive. So it's negative, positive, negative. So it's less than 0. It's going to be negative infinity to negative 6. And
That's equal to 0. Oh, yeah.
that's a bracket union negative 2 to infinity. Is that okay? And if you look at a graph, it's going to be like this. But you have to make sure the equation is equal to 0 first. A lot of time that people, even in my calculus class, people still mess up. They do not set the equation equal to 0 before they factor. Winston, can you explain that why you can put negative 6 as bracket?
Okay, so it has to when it's greater, like less than or equal to, or less, like when it has like the little line under, like the inequality symbol, it means that those zeros can also be like an answer, because it's gonna cancel out the fraction. Unless it's like the denominator in a fraction, because you can't divide by 0 because that's undefined. So in that case, you would do a parenthesis because you're not including that number as one of the solutions. If you're doing the bracket, it also includes that number as a solution.
I don't think she understands fully. Okay, so what Winston was saying is this part you can equal to 0 because imagine that's negative 6. So it'll be negative 6 will be positive 6. 6 minus 6 is 0. 0 can be less equal to 0. But unless it's on denominator, because denominator cannot be defined, if it's x equal to negative 2, then that's not defined. So therefore, negative 2 is a parenthesis because you cannot include in that value. Got it?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Winston.
Sure.
No, you did good, but you gotta look at her when you're explaining. You like explaining to the people like in the front, and she cannot read your lips. So,
Right.
any other questions? Now, this question you can check the graph as well. So, x minus 2. So you can say x minus 2 over x plus 2 and minus 2. And you're looking the graph that's below x-axis. So it'd be negative infinity to negative 6, but it's including negative 6. Also from negative 2 to infinity, but it's not including negative 2. You can look at the graph, see where the graph is below x-axis. Is this okay? Okay, I'll give you last year's test. But last year's test including some old stuff. So if you finish, I can give you very good you'll be fine. This is the only stuff that's not on last year's test. But last year's test including some old stuff. So you need to know some old stuff as well, which is they are not hard. Let me check. Hold on. Okay, rational function test. There you go. So it will tell you between those two questions is I think 48 points. So you need to know how to find all the things. This is a review. So I might including, I might not including, I don't know, but I just take care. This is like a last test. If you did well on last test, this one should be easy as well. This one is that situation I was telling you about. This is from 2 tests ago. This is something that a lot of people didn't know how to do before. Okay, I'm gonna airdrop this to you. Now, the only thing that is not on this test, but it's on previous tests, is the polynomial inequality, which is a number line test, which is gonna be like radical domain. I like the one with square root, so make sure you know that square root one. But I'm gonna airdrop to you, and you can get a head start. Thank you.
Open your phone.
So you can get a start now. Huh?
You said this is one of the hardest tests for pre-cal?
Yeah, but yeah, I think it is the hardest because it has a lot of different variation in there.
Added one more thing.
Yeah, you took the.
They added more.
I put a polynomial and rational together on the test, but I think polynomial is pretty easy. Like the harder one's actually quadratic is the actually harder one. You have to know use negative b over 2a.
Okay, I forgot about that.
So if I were you, get a head start. If you understand everything, including the yesterday's homework, it should be fine. That's easy, 27 points.
How many points do you have the extra bit? But it's studying at second class. I've solved this question before.
Yeah, we did it on a previous one. That's the actual SAT question, by the way.
Yeah, I did this one still. Let me see if PreCalc has this one too.
Mister, yeah.
That's gonna be 30 good.
How to do the limit?
The one use the limit. Yeah, just plug in the final, plug in something like 0.1 away less, and see what sign they go to. So that's, for example, like I'm just gonna say, for example, like if you have 1 over x plus 1 and x minus 2, right? I have something like this, right? I have some asymptote at where? At x equal to -1 and x equal to 2, right? So let's say limits x approach from -1 from the left side. So what number I'm going to plug in? -1 from the left side is what? -1.1. So it'd be -1.1 plus 1 and -1.1 minus 2. So that's equal to positive over negative is equal to positive infinity. So that means you approach at -1. This part is going to go here. Yeah, you have to find the right side. So right side is probably going to be 0.9. 0.1 is going to be negative infinity, so it's going to go this way. And you have to do the one for the 1.9 and 2.1. And you'll find out in general how they behave in that particular situation. If you can, I mean, if it didn't ask you, it didn't require you, but if it did ask you, then you know what to do.
So it'd be like negative infinity to 1. The whole is so it's 3 over. I would do that.
Also, know the name of a whole. What's another name for whole? Removable discontinuity. So on the AP calculus will be removable discontinuity. I think also on AP pre-calculus as well.
I thought you get 0. How do you not get 0? But I'm plugging in so 6 times 3.
Wait, Mister, yeah. So if I get negative as the limit of f of x plus 9.
You mean even or odd function?
Like a negative.
I think this case is not either or odd. This is neither. But they didn't ask you here. according to the questions.
Like you said, plug the number in and then positive.
Yeah, and what'd you get?
I ended up getting a negative.
Negative, that means go to negative infinity. So on that side of the graph, it's going to go down.
So I write negative.
Yep.
So do you,
And then the x, how do I find x equals 1?
Huh?
How do I find x? Do the
You got to do it for both sides, right? Let's do it together.
I don't know.
No, it's a x equal to something, not according.
Wait, Mister, yeah, you writing?
Yeah, I'm just write down the question first.
But just think like if this is like the x-axis, right? Vertical aspect is like this is that's horizontal.
What is the whole distance phase?
It's
Yeah.
not 9. Oh, it's 6.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Draw it out.
Do it in twos. And give me 12.
No, I'll literally just draw off.
It's 3, 9, right? That's a whole, right?
No.
So it's whatever the
Oh yeah, yeah.
Horizontal.
No, it's 0. Oh yeah.
okay, so those would be like 1. So
They
the
had
next
it.
one
Can't have horizontal.
Oh, you like to do it real quick.
okay, so that's
So intercept is y.
9
Y
over.
minus this equal just negative 0. You put
I got negative 9.
I got negative infinity.
yeah.
it's 0, 9, negative this.
So 0. I have to.
Negative 9.
Yeah. So then that's negative.
Y means
Like this. Oh, just a top line. So divide by 3. Yeah, so it's just negative. So minus 3 0.
Wait, the x, yeah.
You only use the numerator, so it would be x plus 3 equals 0 and then 3 equals 3. So I think it's just negative 3 and 0 and 0. So you got
no, there's nothing to 0.
this 3.
That is still not up.
How did you do the limit?
No, well, if 3 equals 0, that's
Yeah, I should probably hit that.
so it's 0.
Negative 3.
Y intercept.
Yo, I thought it was x. We made y 0. That's x.
Yeah, if y equals 0, it's good enough for me.
Yeah.
Combine y and make x.
Oh, yes. Right.
And combine x and make y.
One way.
I think you can do it all.
Oh, okay, I got it.
How's it not 0 0?
Yeah, 3 can't equal 0, so that's there's
Nothing?
no. It has to be 3.
Oh.
It's,
Did you do the limit?
I don't have to do this.
Yeah, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8.
Wait, is it?
My graph's gonna be very uneven. So it's gonna be very uneven. It's gonna have like 9 on the top and then 2 on the bottom. Do you want a piece of paper?
It's just one. It's for the
Did I write it right? Maybe it's in the back pocket.
Just like it.
No, the other side of that. The back of the front.
Can somebody open a door for him? Isaac.
Ah.
Isaac, get your ass up. If you don't get your ass up, I'm about to insult you. Yeah, just put it there. Thank you.
Enjoy
Easy 27 points. Like,
But Mr. Yu, when the number for the horizontal asymptote numerator is greater, it's zero.
there is no horizontal asymptote, but it's possible to have a slant though. It's possible to have a slant asymptote. It's the 1 degree over, let's say x squared over x. It's possible to have a slant, so you have to do long division. There is not horizontal asymptote, but it's possible to have slant. But sometimes it's a straight line. Remember, if you simplify your equation to get like a simple like linear equation, it's just a straight line. There's not even a asymptote in that situation.
So when the numerator is smaller
Bro,
than the
it's
denominator,
minus
so that's when it's
I did the graph the wrong way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, 6. And then
How do you like?
negative 3.
Diego, Isaac, get to work.
9. So this is where the hole is.
Diego, something else.
Mr. Yu, what if I
Yeah, I
just
don't get the limits, you know. Like,
oh right, the remainder doesn't.
how do you do that? You plug in 1.1.
It won't go past.
That's my.
There's only one here. So there's no way this. No,
Like, you have to stay here. So this is good. Or did you just draw weird? Okay.
Oh, you can't draw the thing.
So it looks like that.
Okay, so it's x then
X.
approach
No, there's 2.
one
I
from
just
the
didn't
right,
think
then x.
Have you read 1?
So from the right, you're going.
Oh.
You're going to the left.
No, you put 1 plus then 1 minus.
Then x approach 1 plus. Same thing, but
When X is to the right, for this one, Oh, but it's past one. Past this or left. Oh,
1 plus.
positive infinity. So is it 1 minus infinity?
Yeah.
After that, equals negative. So for this one, can I plug in 0? Oh, I should plug in 0.9 into the last equation.
The last one. That's that. Yeah. And then see how this one goes. Go 39.
How do you find the whole of it?
Look, I'll find it eventually. You're gonna find.
Is it like why?
It like they multiply out.
Okay, and then
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Like why didn't it just?
So
Because it's negative.
think of it like this. Limb, but like so below. X approaches.
Yeah, you just like go lines.
So limb, X approaches 1. If it's to the left, so if it's approaching at this rate, it's 1 minus. It's like 1. It's like 1 other exponent.
It comes out as negative.
It's going down.
so from here, I would know it's going to be negative.
Well, think of it like from this.
If you do
So like
the
the
test with the 12.9,
then this, like this one.
Meaning what?
it's going back. So this one.
From here?
Yeah, so it's 1 plus. Yes. Then X approaches 1 positive. X approaches 1. Yes. And have just go like that. Go through that. It doesn't have to be like accurate. It just has to be. I did the last question. Let's go through the whole thing. I just plugged everything.
So is there an arrow here?
I know that this
Slider.
This is kind of ugly.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Like
But this one gets both arrows?
like that's why I think SATs they should have a section with no calculator. Because that's literally like just you can cheat if you know your math. You can cheat your way. Like
Yeah, I wrote it like this.
Because I don't know how to do this the math way.
Mathway cannot do it. Like Decimal's way more powerful than Mathway in many ways.
But I'm about to draw the arrow over here. Can you go three? But I thought you don't want it to touch them. I mean, doesn't matter. So I think it's common sense. But aren't the points here?
Yeah. In this case, it wouldn't be that.
Oh, Mr. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the and
But
what's Q?
it would be.
The factor of constant over the constant of leading coefficient.
It would be
But like, is the
So that's just to
what's
double
the
check
first
that you're
and
doing it right.
what's the last?
Uh,
This 6 is on the top,
yeah.
and this 6 is on the bottom. So it turned out to be the same.
Just making sure the coordinates are right. And it's in the right spot. Yeah, it's under the. This side. How is that 27? Like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, oh,
Wait, let's say like, how is the bonus score?
There's 7. Mr. Yen. Mr. Yen.
What?
How much questions are on the 62?
Well, this is all consideration. So for sure, the first two, rest of them I'll pick and choose which one is on it. But polynomial inequality will for sure be on it. Roughly the same amount.
Go ahead.